All right, Patrick, it's very rare that we get breaking news right off the top here on Rapping with Reusse. The Vikings have officially, well, Adam Schefter reporting it, so it's basically official. There's no press release yet, but Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, the Browns vice president of player personnel, former Wall Street guy, is the new Vikings GM.
Could you repeat that name so I can write it down phonetically here?
I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna shorten it to KAM. I think
yes, I was wondering.
I think Cam, but Kwesi Adofo-Mensah.
Yes, it'll be like a hockey. Mensah is the name, and Mensah apparently is his brain power too. So,
yeah.
That'll be easy to remember. That he's a.
It'll be easy for you to take shots in 3 years in column form too if he doesn't perform well.
Yeah, it's a difference. As the Bears ended up with the guy who has played some football, and somebody was saying this is the first GM hired straight out of the analytic world.
Yes,
that basically is this the start of what has become the norm in baseball? I mean,
I'm pretty sure didn't he work with Paul D. Podesta in the Browns front office?
Yeah, right. Paul D. Podesta was the head of like with the A's, he was the head of the Browns becoming the analytic home, and this is one of his guys. Yes, it was. So, we have no idea, but I will say if the Bears start off, the new guy with the Bears starts off by hiring Jim Caldwell as his coach, I think we have a very good chance to feel better about Mensah almost right off the bat, don't you?
I mean Jim Caldwell does preside over one of the greatest eras of Lions football in 50 years. Yeah, they won like 9 games.
9 games. I was going to say he was 9-7 a couple of times, for God's sake. But that's not my kind of a hire. Now, if he hires the defensive coordinator from San Francisco, I don't know anything about him, but he certainly didn't have a big reputation heading into this search for coaches. That he didn't get DeMarco Ryans didn't get thrown around that much, right? At first, and then of course they went and beat the Packers and that. But he's supposedly tight with that guy, right? For some reason, DeMarco.
Yeah, they worked together. So they worked together in San Francisco. And I mean, DeMeco Ryans is only like a few years removed from playing for the Texans, right? He's mid-30s.
Yeah. Well, this guy he's 40. The guys with that Stoles is it Stoles? Stoles is it the guy from
Ryan Poles, 30. He's 36.
He's 36. So this is a new generation, that's for sure. And we'll see how it works out. Yeah. I am sure he will win the press conference because he'll be way smarter than everybody listening to him, right?
They do have to say, though, do not bring up any family to the podium because the last guy, we will ridicule you now. So you gotta leave the family, mom, dad, kids.
Don't use the word, for God's sake.
Exactly right.
Don't use the word.
I am committed to football, and that's it. All I care about, football and collaboration.
Yes. Ben Johnson is our new role model for coaches, a 41-year-old bachelor who's only into basketball, who gets the win of his life last Saturday and gets in a car and runs out and sees 2 games in other places trying to recruit guys, and his assistants are jumping on planes trying to get guys. That's what we want.
Yes.
An obsessed guy with no worldview whatsoever, right?
I don't need a family because I've got football or basketball. That's all I want you to say.
That's my family. I go to bed at night, put my arms around
I sleep with a football. I'm in a relationship with a pigskin.
I don't know. I have. I don't really have a view one way or another. We only have speculative secondhand stuff that they wanted polls and lowballed him, and he wanted to come here, but we don't know if that's fact or not. And I bet that they ended up paying this guy just as much as the other guy got in Chicago, right? Because it would look bad if it did. So anyway, it is this is probably the most dramatic event in Viking history since Denny Green got hired, right? 30 years since Denny Green got hired 30 years ago.
Because that was, at the time, wasn't that seen as a pretty innovative? First of all, Denny Green was the second ever black head coach, and they hired him from the college ranks after letting go Jerry Burns, who was part of Vince Lombardi's old school coaching tree, right?
But also the idea of bringing in a complete outsider, which is they have not done. I mean, I don't even consider Spielman to, he came in and as a third wheel, so he was around the organization for 5 years before he got power. So they bringing in a complete outsiders. Even when Finks hired Bud Grant, they were Bud was from here, and they knew each other from the Canadian Football League. They were, it was family. This is completely out of the Vikings realm. Both whoever the head coach is going to be, no connection. And the good thing, you know what is a good thing though? This guy's 40. I don't know what his marital status is, but he's too young to hire a son, right? He's too young to have one of his kids.
You never do know.
Yeah, no, we're at least 5 or 10 years away from nepotism here.
Yes, that's right. So anyway, it's going to be interesting. It's fun to have a reset because they needed one badly.
By the way, it is a 4-year, $12 million contract.
That's pretty
Declan
good
just
for
found
GM.
this from.
That's pretty good for GM, isn't it?
It's pretty good, but
they don't get some speculation was that the Wilfs weren't interested in paying huge money because they have to pay Spielman and Zim off for the 2 years left on their deals, right? So however many million that is.
And
it's got to be over. Zimmer was 8.
The best part about this, though, 4 years means I'm going to spend a year changing things, and then we'll probably win. So that gives him the 1 year of, I'm going to have to change some things here. Going to have to make some moves here. So
this is a little different than looking up in the NFC West and thinking how good you have to be. And, here they don't have to. They got to get their cap figured out, but beyond that, with Rodgers' situation, I don't think I don't think many of us think he's going to be back. It's a wide open division.
But the conference is tough.
Oh yeah, but
the division,
I'd much rather be in the NFC than the AFC right now.
Let's first crawl into the playoffs and then worry about what happens after that, right?
Here's one for you, Pat.
I don't think Super Bowl aspirations are part of the hire here. So.
Pat, do you throughout your newspaper journeys, I'm sure you've met Mary Kay Cabot before?
Yes.
So she's a long-time Browns beat reporter for the Cleveland Plain Dealer.
She was in Lillehammer with us covering the Olympics back in the day. I know her very well. Yes.
Yeah. So Declan found this morning. She said, I'm paraphrasing from Declan here, but and Declan, maybe you can just say it. But
yeah, I actually had the clip loading too.
Oh, beautiful.
So we'll play the clip here, Pat. Here you go.
If Kwesi is the general manager in Minnesota and they want to do some things in terms of trading Kirk Cousins or rebuilding or whatever the case may be, then of course there would be a discussion, I would think, that would take place between them and the Cleveland Browns about Kirk Cousins, because as we mentioned before, the Browns are going to have to turn over every single stone to make sure they have the best team they can get going forward. That of course includes everything, including quarterback. I mean, they never said they wouldn't do that.
Hey, Mary Kay's been listening to this show, right?
I think so.
Who was
we're ripped off constantly.
Who wants the Baker Mayfield trade? Baker Mayfield, high draft choice, maybe one other player, and you don't re-sign him. You just let him play a year and see if he can play or not. It's a layup.
I'll have you know that we are the great underground artists here, including you, Patrick. Now that you're associated with us, and we get ripped off, we get copied.
Yes, right.
Bands do covers of our songs. We never get full credit.
Too. Yeah. The critics are difficult. They're tough.
We get slandered for being reckless speculators, and then those same slanderers will go and recklessly speculate themselves.
We've led the way.
I would say that I don't blame Judd because for feeling sensitive about all the criticism because he likes to stay straight in that middle lane and not say anything goofy.
Well, right. And my feelings get hurt. And my feelings absolutely get hurt.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm a sensitive guy who wants credit for what I give you.
The only thing I'm surprised is that you didn't endorse the Les Frazier for coach commentary.
Not even I could do that.
He's getting a second interview with the Giants, right? I think he's getting a second.
Really?
I think he's a finalist with the Giants.
So the guy from Buffalo that had Les and then got hired by the Giants didn't watch the game over the weekend. Then he forgot to watch that game. Is that
he's going to watch it tomorrow?
All you got to do is watch
DVR
the Kelsey play and say, Les, I don't want you. I don't want you to call a timeout and say, I got a good idea. Let the tight end run 25 yards down the middle of the field unchallenged.
I want to have a conversation with the special teams coordinator too, because like 99% of the time you should not squib a kick.
Yes.
The 1% time that you should was with 13 seconds left in that exact situation, and they gave the Chiefs the ball at the 25 with no time run off the clock. Well,
it'll be interesting. I'm sure it's going to be a collaboration fest out there today, but it's. I guess I'm on board. I don't know anything about any of them. He's obviously a smart fellow, and that's an advantage, right?
Yeah. So she said Kwesi, correct?
Kwesi.
Kwesi.
Play the first part of the
I think
clip
she says Kwesi.
I hope she said Kwesi. I don't like Kwesi. That's too many.
Kwesi? Okay. Let's play it.
If Kwesi is.
Kwesi.
Okay. Kwesi.
Kwesi.
I think even if your name when you were a kid was Kwesi, you would switch it to Kwesi, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, Kwesi is not a good name.
We named our son Kwesi.
It's like that guy used to be an ESPN anchor, and his name used to be spelled Matt Weiner, W-E-I-N. He's on NBA TV now, and he kicked the E out of his name. He's like, I'm just gonna fix this myself.
Yes.
I'll take care of this.
Well, my favorite ever will always remain for 100 years the Iowa basketball star of the women's basketball of the 1960s, Fonda Dix, will always be my favorite. You can see her in the scoring records, and you gotta see. I'd like to meet Mom and Dad. They're long gone, obviously, and say, "What in God's name were you thinking?"
Well, let's name her Fonda.
Wouldn't it be? They got drunk one night. Wouldn't it be hilarious? Do it.
A bunch of Iowegians. I don't think so. I think that's a good name.
Write it down on the birth certificate. I'm going to do it.
Unreal. So your guy Anthony Edwards, I love him. He was great, and then all of a sudden, the last 2 minutes, he's taking 28 footers with 15 seconds to go on a clock, and then missing free throws. He's Finch has got to love having him, but he's also got to have those moments when he's saying, "Ow!"
Yeah, he gets a little. He gets a little squirrely. He's the ultimate heat check guy, right? He's all right, I'm gonna see how far back I can knock a three down.
But he was also bad in the first quarter, and he ends up 40. I mean, he didn't do much early. You know who played great and had 7 shots? Cat.
Mm-hmm.
He was blocking shots, keeping the rebounds alive. He's gotten really good at keeping rebounds alive. And this Vanderbilt guy, he is in the right place to get rebounds and do things. He's a different kind of player, an odd kind of player, but they need one more. They need one more starter. And,
he's gritty, Pat. He's gritty.
Yes,
goes in the corners like a hockey player.
Yes, he is. McDaniels is not he's not as. I had bigger hopes for him last year than I do now. He's okay, but they need the 5th guy, and they think it's Beverly. I'm not sure it is.
It's Beverly for now, but he's like 34.
Gets hurt a lot. They need one more guy, but that was a good win because way back. About 4 years ago, when I was in Florida at this time of year, I saw this Anthony Simons playing for IMG against Florida Southwestern Junior College. I saw one. I used to go over a couple games a year, and because Florida Southwestern is one of the best JUCO programs in the country, and when when mom names you Anthony, she's got hopes for you to be a basketball player, obviously. And he was probably the best player on the floor that night, with playing with JUCO guys. So I'm not surprised to see him doing well for Portland. And this is probably their chance. They should probably just move on from Lillard, don't you think? I mean, he's great, but you got this kid, you got McCollum. You're not gonna, if you make the playoffs, it won't amount to anything. I think I might see what I could get for him.
Isn't it kind of weird that I mean, Lillard's like 31 now.
Yeah, he is.
And I just how many more years of this level play? Why did he not demand something 2 years ago? Why is he so loyal to that franchise?
Here's my question, though: can we handle this? Almost a good NBA team. You can almost call them good, can't you?
They're above 500 now.
Yeah,
yes.
You can almost call them good. You got the best hockey team we've had in Minnesota since 1981, and right, at least.
Yeah, those Stars teams. Yes,
since that, when they were Dino and Broughton and those guys were young and
early 80s,
great, and Smith and those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But and can we handle? And we got the plucky Gopher basketball team, and can we handle all this goodness? Can we? I mean,
it's a great question. No, I think we are. It's been 2 generations of fans, basically, that their entire identity is bitching about the sports teams.
Yes, right. Yeah,
including me, including Judd.
We're waiting for something to go very wrong. That's what we're waiting for. I guarantee it. We're waiting for something to go wrong.
Okay, I'm trying to do this as an old man. When I listened to the press conference today and hear all the buzzwords, I want to avoid getting upset.
No chance.
I let myself ruin my relationship with PJ by listening to all the buzzwords, right? Way back when. That drove me crazy. 6 years ago? I'm going to try to let that go.
You got no shot.
Okay, let's try and trigger Pat here. What's on the press conference bingo card here? So I would say collaboration, culture, inclusiveness,
family.
We're
a big family out here.
Yep.
I think taking input, like something about taking input from multiple places. Yeah.
Yes. That's the big buzzword.
There's
got to
the
be a couple others out there we're not getting to.
But here's the problem, Pat. With you, it's also tone that upsets you.
Mm-hmm.
So if they get up there and they talk about the family that they've got and how this is just such an exciting day because the Vikings, the tone is going to piss you off.
Yeah, maybe.
I guarantee.
But the Twins came and they gave us that. Falvey and Levine, they gave us that at that opening press conference. But then we had the comedy of Sid telling them how what made them think they knew anything about baseball.
Maybe Sid was onto something in retrospect.
And Levine, replacing remember that? The greatest question ever, replacing a great baseball bat like Terry Ryan. And Falvey kind of double spoke and panicked, and Levine said, "Sir, I'm as offended by that as you are, but we're going to try to do our best." Levine's
genius.
But those guys they give it all to you, but the delivery was not that pompous, So
by the way,
when they're in trouble is when they start trying to explain complicated things like not calling up Buxton, and then they get into triple speak and drive you crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if you still follow the Twins' official Twitter account, but yesterday they tweeted, "Congratulations on a wonderful career and being elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame, David Ortiz," with a big picture of David Ortiz in a Twins uniform.
Why wouldn't you do that? You got to do that, right? Hey, good way to go, Poppy. I think he wasn't caught as squarely as the other guys. He, it was it was allegedly in the report, but they never really had the goods on him like they had on Bonds and Clemens, and I think that's the difference.
It was a people talk about the the Yankees purchased Babe Ruth for like $150,000 from the Red Sox. The Twins didn't even get $150,000 for David Ortiz.
When you're looking at your 40 man, for space to draft Jose Morbone in the thing. It turns into a bad decision. And, maybe keep him around for another year and see how she worked out.
LeCroy was great. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Is Matthew LeCroy still on the ballot?
That's right. He was going to replace him.
Matthew LeCroy was fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick
you
on
know
the
what? By the way, all we're reading, Kelly wanted him to hit singles, blah, blah, blah. No, Kelly wanted him to take the outside pitch to left field. And at age 40, playing in Fenway, he led the American League with 48 doubles. You think the wall in Fenway and that left-handed swing had a little bit to do that?
That's always been an overplayed.
Yes, it is.
An overplayed narrative.
But that's.
Hey, real quick, since you are a BBWAA member, and the 1/3 chunk that didn't vote for Bonds and Clemens are getting hammered by a lot of people. Yeah. My question to you is, do you enjoy being the gatekeeper for, like, do you think the BBWAA enjoys being the Hall of Fame gatekeepers, or would you guys rather just, somebody else can handle
I think a lot of people do. I would guess 10 years from now, we won't be, or 5 years from now, that the BBWA in general will not be. I would think it's going to be a committee of 50. There'll be a lot of writers on it, but the media types.
Football.
I enjoy it. I've always seized the opportunity to vote for it, but I don't feel like I don't feel any pressure. I mean, it's just what it is. And would I be greatly offended if they took it away from the writers? Not really. I think it's that's the only way they're going to get Bonds and Clemens and those guys in the Hall of Fame, though. They're not going to get in through a 16-person modern day committee unless it's everybody under 30, unless it's Jeff Passan and everybody younger than him that votes for these guys. Mm-hmm. I just thought these guys were blatant cheaters, and I didn't vote for them. The non-blatant cheaters, I didn't vote for Pudge because my eyes told me what was going on. But beyond that, like the Bagwell rumors, I always voted for Bagwell because he never got caught. I've said it always. It's like society. Some criminals get caught, some don't.
But Ortiz basically got caught.
No, he didn't get caught.
He never tested positive.
Right, but he showed up in a report.
He was reportedly mentioned.
Good enough for me.
Mitchell report. Yeah, well, 2003. Once. It's not like Bonds having a court trial that he's the number.
I'm just saying, Ortiz left the Twins, and then he got really, really good, and he might have some help.
Pretty damn good with the Twins. He just had a wrist injury his last year.
Yep.
Yeah,
I still think
it was weird. The front office, they didn't like him as a guy either. They thought he wasn't committed enough.
I thought his teammates loved him.
By the way, the Twins of that era, David Ortiz is not the only guy who might have known his way around a needle. Okay.
Yeah. It's funny we think like, once they leave the Twins.
Yeah.
But that's the issue. Is so many guys did that, and like you said, didn't get caught.
We had a former Twins minor leaguer call our show like 6 years ago and said, I was in the minor league clubhouses and I saw 40 to 50% with my own eyes doing something in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
That's right.
And of course, the Twins were always like last in home runs offensively, so maybe they needed a new needle doctor. But yeah,
Matt Lawton got caught eventually, right?
Yes.
Yes. And they must have gotten suspicious when he led the Twins that year with 21 home runs.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the league was hitting. Everybody else was
50.
Brady Anderson was
Brady.
50.
Little Brady.
Art Cheater was hitting 21.
Jermaine Dye, all of a sudden a fantastic baseball player. 2 years ago, he was in the minors. What happened? I don't know. It's fantastic.
Well, that was, there's a lot of thieves out there that have been stealing money and never got caught. So,
including the commissioner who benefited from it and is in the Hall of Fame.
I'd vote for Bud.
It is funny. He presided over one of the most fun eras of baseball ever. But the players that were empowered to make it fun are blackballed.
Yeah, and I'd vote for Bud just because of the quips he used to make when he came into the press box at County Stadium. So anyway, he hung in there a long time. You know, what the hell.
All right, Pat.
Those guys, those periphery guys, I don't really care about. You know, so if they want to put Bud in, that's fine.
Pat,
right,
we gotta run.
One last thing: are we making a little progress here in baseball? Owners are taking something off the table. They're taking something off the table that the other side doesn't like. Is that an indication something's going on? I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I'm like, yeah, they met for 5 hours. It was great. And then I watched the 4 football games over the weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
That's how
and
far
if they
apart.
watched the football games, they should have said, we better settle tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unreal.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you later this week.
Welcome, Mensa.
Yes.
Welcome, Mensa.
Let's get it. All right. That's Rapping with Reusse here, Mackie and Judd, and the SKOR North YouTube channel.